We're going to talk about transformations, like I mentioned, to help stop them from holding you back. So let me ask you before I get into that content, and let me know below, are you aware when you're feeling triggered? Are you aware? Believe it or not everybody is aware when they get triggered. Many of us blame how we feel on other people. And that's okay as long as you become aware that it's not working for you. But the question is, are you aware when you get triggered? That's the first question. The second question is, are there certain times of the year, like your birthday, your anniversary, right, that cause you to have more triggers, experience more triggers than usual? Is there any time of the year where you experience more triggers than usual? And do you know what or who triggers you? Do you know what will almost always trigger you, or who in particular triggers you? And I'll come in and I'll respond back to that, to those answers. What helps is to see triggers for what they really are, as they are actually gifts to transformational healing. Triggers are a messenger on your soul's journey trying to speak to you. What triggers are not is your truth. They're not. But rather they are limiting beliefs from your ancestors combined with your life experiences. But when we can heal the initial trauma or the false belief, you can set yourself emotionally free to move through life with ease and grace. Which is why I wanted to share with you three ways to consciously release triggers so that you can heal those old wounds to find your way to more empowered and a confident version of who you are supposed to be, who you are really on a soul level. So the first one is, begin to compassionately examine and shift any old beliefs. Beliefs that you've carried around from your family, from your childhood, such as, I'm not smart enough, or I'm too sensitive, or no one hears or understands me. You need to gently address the parts of you that feel flawed about yourself. We all have them. Those things that trigger you to feel self-doubt or any other negative emotion are messengers from the unhealed part of who you are. It takes compassion and analysis to identify your triggers so that you can manage them, which is the first step to taking control over triggers and negative beliefs. Then you can begin to pick up on patterns. You can analyze your past behavior and make adjustments to build on what is working and eliminating what isn't. Number 2, reprogram a negative self-belief. Start with one trigger that has the least emotional charge. It's a place to begin. And then compassionately reprogram it by really listening to that trigger and intercepting the negative messages before it takes hold. And some of them have been around a long time, I understand. But you're going to counter it with reminders of your positive traits, your goals, your accomplishments that you've had in your life. You know, all too often, we get so busy on moving, right, that we fail to stop and turn around and see how far we've come. That's what I want you to do here is I want you to pause. I want you to acknowledge, you know, the accomplishments you've had, and we're going to counter it with a positive thought. For example, If you hypothetically get into an argument or a disagreement with a friend or a partner, a spouse, which sets you off in that and triggers you that you are undeserving of having a balanced relationship. If you go to that mindset of it's never going to work, I always end up in this situation, that type of feeling, you can say to yourself in that moment, this is not my truth. And you can go a little bit more with it. I am worthy of deep connections with others, even after a disagreement, because oftentimes it's been patterned to us, or we have our own life experience, that an argument or a disagreement is the foretelling of ending of something good or what was good. We might have seen that in our parents' life. So you want to remind yourself that you are worthy of having deep connections. You are worthy of being loved, and you are worthy to love. Okay? Even after a disagreement. Substitute the negative belief with a positive truth. Number 3, track your trigger's origin. Knowing where your trigger comes from allows you to know your better self, allows you to know yourself better. We don't always know where it comes from, but if we do, such as if they derived from childhood or a past negative experience. For example, then, if you experienced being held back in your childhood from doing the new thing, that from anything really, where you were stopped from experiencing the thrill of experiencing the creation, right, of your bright idea, where that was oppressed or suppressed, all because the authoritative person in your life was trying to protect you, or they thought they knew better, right? Then it might now be a trigger for you if someone in your life discounts your idea. This can be in a work environment. It can be in a relationship. It can be in any type of environment. Because of a previous experience, it will cause you to feel a certain way in the present tense, creating a trigger of frustration in these situations, a frustration of never feeling heard, right? Never given the opportunity to create this idea you have and have it come to fruition. But the more you know about yourself, the better you can understand what is holding you back. Mm-hmm. And the more empowered, right, you are to do something about it. All right. Let me check. After this, we're going to do a visualization because I want to integrate this for you. All right. Dina, you get very emotional before Christmas. What do you think that is? What do you think makes you emotional? Is emotion a trigger, Dina? Or is emotion the gratitude of being around family? What is the trigger in what emotion is being triggered is what I'm curious about, Dina. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Lisa. Where do you feel, what is it that triggers you? We all have triggers, everybody. So if you don't have triggers, you're like superhuman and should be walking up among with the angels, okay? It can be triggered when we're driving in a car. It can be triggered, oh my gosh, I have a massive trigger that I've been working on where I get a Prius in front of me going in the fast lane in LA, and I literally want to scream. I mean, I've mellowed, but it's like, just because you can be doesn't mean you should be when you're going 60 when people are trying to go 80, right? Okay, so see, I get instantly triggered, even thinking about it. Okay. It can also be, you can get triggered in work environments, right? Who gets triggered in a work environment? Even if you're the leader in the environment, it doesn't matter what role you play, right? Hey, Robert. Impending traffic triggers you, PK? Yeah. Traffic can be a big one. It can be a big trigger for us. It can be a big trigger too when we're in a relationship and we're trying to express ourselves and we become a parent. It becomes apparent that they're not really listening, right? That is very common in in society with everybody, or triggered if somebody's on their cell phone and you're trying to have a conversation, right? If you go to dinner with friends and everybody's on their cell phones, and then you are somebody that loves that deep connection, which hence why you're there, right? That can be a trigger right there. All right, let's do a visualization. Oh, wait a minute, here we go. Tired of feeling sad. Is sad a trigger for you? Jean, hi Jean. Robert, you're laughing. Okay, overwhelmed, a lot on my plate, thinking and feeling I have to take it on. You're a creator, Dina, okay? You create an experience. You want people to have an experience. And I would also venture to say that you do everything, okay? And and because the experience is also meaningful for you, and coupled with the fact, love, that you want everyone to have a memorable experience, it puts this added pressure on you, Dina, that everything has to be done and in place, or it's going to be a missed opportunity of a lasting memory. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. But I'll tell you what, your family has great memories, and the holidays is something that they truly cherish. Whether you're there with them in their place or they're there with you. Yeah. So the desire that you have been trying to have over the year has been accomplished. Now it's time to experience it with some greater ease, okay? So remind yourself during the holidays that it always gets done, dear, that everybody loves being together, and that lasting memories are always created. Okay. Jean, you get triggered in sadness. Is that when you're alone or when you're with people? What type of environment creates this sadness for you? What triggers it to come up for you, love? Yeah. Kathy, when trying to start something to earn money, like my mind is frozen. Well, let me ask you something, Kathy. When you get triggered, meaning trigger is a frozen response for you. Your brain freezes when you get triggered. That's what I'm reading. Am I hearing it correctly? It's that all or nothing pressure. So in life, right, you might have felt like you missed that opportunity. Let's just go back to childhood. Okay, Kathy, where let's say you're asked a question, you don't respond fast enough, oh, opportunity's gone. It's literally that simple. Or somebody else comes in, answers the question, and gets to be the hero of the class that day. And I'm literally picking up for you that it's something simple like that. You also have other things that are bigger in your life, and I'm not minimizing that, but I'm pointing out little things that have contributed to this. Now, this is what I want you to do, Kathy, for yourself. I want you to remind yourself, first of all, what do you do now to make money? And I can help you figure out a revenue stream, okay? I can give you some ideas. What are some things, just post down there, what are some things you enjoy doing, right? Because this trigger of shutting down is a fight or flight response to keep you safe from failing. That's why you have it, okay? Yes, dearest. You don't have to keep it though, I promise, okay? Hi, Melissa. Strong irrational fears. You don't even want to leave the house these days, and that's a trigger. So let me ask you something, Melissa. Do you watch the news? Jean, I'm going to ask you because you say you are triggered in sadness because you're alone. All right. So I take it you live alone, Jean. Do you have family nearby? Do you have friends that you could associate with? in your surroundings, okay, or on the phone. All right. I think you've had loss in your life, and tell me what stops you from interacting with others. Tell me, I need a little bit more to help you unravel it, okay? I knew you did. Melissa, I knew you watched news, dearest. And you know what? And I say it with love and just want to just give you a big hug, dear, okay? Because you're an empath, Melissa, I'm not speaking anything you don't already know. That means you're very much aware of the emotions that people are having in the moment of impact. So you literally go to the impact of what somebody is experiencing. That's why you can't even watch some shows. They don't work for you. Some TV, some movies, you really know don't serve your highest good. Because emotionally, you are living them with the characters in the movie as if they are part of, as if you're living it. And it's the same thing you do with the news. Now, part of the news fills a void in your life. What else can you do? If you were working with me privately, I would clear the addiction to news, the addiction to TV, right? The addiction to, in a sense, avoiding love. Okay? So I use the word intentionally because your last name is Love, by the way. What can you do to minimize your news? I promise you'll get enough news from just swiping social media. You'll get enough news if you mingle with other people. Okay, I promise. You will not be left in the cold. You will not be unaware. So tell me, what is something reasonable that you can do to minimize your news? That's all. I'm not saying don't ever watch it right now because it's too much for me to ask you to do that. Okay? Okay. Melissa, being an empath is a gift, dearest. You just need to learn how to use your gift. Okay? I promise. You're a widow. Jean, my heart goes out to you, dear. Yeah. When our companion, the person we've shared our life with, passes away, it leaves a void within us. Okay? How long ago did they pass away? That doesn't mean you still can't hurt. I'm curious how long it's been, and I want to know if there's community around you. Okay? You just feel you don't belong. Watching the news for some may be a habitual pastime. It's true. It's really true. It fills a void of space around you, right? It becomes a habit of even background noise. I mean, the worst is falling asleep to news or TV. That's the worst because it's still going on in the subconscious. The subconscious never goes to sleep. Think of the news as if it was, okay, on the other side, just throwing you darts of anxiety, darts of fear, because they come through the TV and they land in your energy system. Now, nobody's doing that, right? And yet it's happening because of the fear, because of the impact of the things that are happening in the world. By not watching the news, you're not disregarding the suffering that's happening right now. That's a false belief. Be so much more productive to sit in meditation for 20 minutes and literally through your heart send a blanket of love. Those vibrational frequencies that we send do land, by the way. They do support, they do help. That would be much more productive than living in the fear of what you believe they are experiencing. Yeah. Okay. You can't control it. No, I can't control my empathetic feelings either, but I can control what I watch. I can control who I choose to hang around. I can control most of my environment. I can't control people in it, but I get to choose what I allow in intentionally. My life, Melissa, began transformation when I stopped watching the movies, stopped watching news. Absolutely. That's when I started feeling like I could trust my gut instinct. I could start saying to myself, why do I have anxiety? Well, a lot of it was around the fear of what was happening around the world around me. So I'm just planting a seed for you to embrace, okay, who you are and let go of habits that aren't working for you, dear. Okay. Hello, Amanda, dear. It's been 52, been 26 years. Jean, the pain is real and the pain will never leave, okay? When someone passes. It's a pain that's indescribable, that we can recall at any moment. But it doesn't mean, Jean, that you can't live a life that has more happiness in it and more joy. I promise. Okay, I'm just speaking it and we'll figure out the how to it, okay? All right, Amanda, I saw you in here, dear. You're overthinking that does it for me. So are you overthinking, Amanda, when in a trigger situation where somebody's in conversation with you? Is the trigger that after you hear something, you overthink it? I would say it causes you to self-doubt yourself for sure. I think that's the underlying current of this overthinking pattern is it creates self-doubt. It causes you to second guess. Okay. Hope so is better than I don't believe so. I'm going to tell you a quick belief I have on the word hope. Don't think the subconscious truly understands the word hope. Hope can go maybe yes, maybe no. Hope is undefined. Hope is not magical. Hope is not belief. So let's change it one step further, Jean, and say, I believe so. I believe it will. Okay, then we can go to, I will allow it to. Okay, let's do a visualization because it's going to help integrate the things we've been talking about, and then I'll come back in, okay? So get in a comfortable position, all right? Preferably with your feet on the floor, okay? And let's begin changing the brain to think positive and experience positive, all right? So here we go. You'll be able to refer back to this visualization whenever you feel triggered, okay? Now, take a breath into your lungs, filling your lungs to capacity. A little bit more, and hold. On the exhale, there you go. Release the day's tensions and worries. Allow it to let go. Now the next breath is a belly breath. Taking the breath into your stomach, expanding it to capacity as you imagine a cord attached to the inside of your belly button and attached to the other end attached to your spinal cord. Now on the exhale, you sense, feel, and imagine the cord is being pulled back as you exhale. It's being pulled back a little bit more, back to your vertebrae, activating your central nervous system. Beautiful. One last breath, filling your lungs to capacity as you imagine the breath continuing up into your head, activating the right and left hemisphere of your brain activating the cells of your body to release what doesn't serve you anymore. Now, returning your breath to a normal flow. As I count down from 3 to 1, 3, you are becoming more deeply relaxed. 2, the sounds around you will always allow you to go deeper relaxed. 1, you sense, feel, and imagine. You are laying on a soft white blanket underneath a tall tree that transcends up high into the sky. With its branches leaning way over into an emerald riverbank, as its leaves gently caress the surface of the green water. Feeling a profound sense of calmness as you watch the leaves softly brush the very top of the water. The leaves are swaying back and forth like a rhythmic dance. Gazing closer at the tree, you notice its leaves have a breathtaking, brilliant hue of gold. As you gaze deeper, you see the tree trunk sparkles with tiny golden specks as if it was just brushed with gold glitter. It's a beautiful, magical tree for sure. Noticing a small green caterpillar inching its way up one of the branches, and watching it stop to rest on top of a golden leaf. You lift yourself up and walk closer to the riverbank. As you reach the riverbank, you gaze in the extraordinary emerald water as it appears like one enormous crystal. As you find yourself staring at your reflection in the still water, your reflection begins to change. And the reflection coming back is now a memory of a time you felt triggered. Instinctually, you want to look away. It isn't your best self after all. But you are aware that this is your higher self showing you this visual. And you always trust your higher self. Your higher self reminds you that this visual is not your truth. Your higher self reminds you that your triggers are not your truth. You see your reflection back in the water as the face of the person that has held on to the emotional distress. The person that hasn't known how to transform the triggers into the positive. You feel strength being passed to your soul, perhaps from the wisdom and healing of the tree, as it supports your body in letting go of old triggers that run through your core and cells. It activates the veins of your body to feel pumped with purposeful energy, and a divine energy fills your soul. You know it's time to embark on the path to your soul-led purpose. As you let go of old triggers that have been holding you back, there are some stubborn triggers that have blocked your path, triggers you have held on to. Continuing to gaze at your reflection You are now being given the ability to envision your life without these triggers, the prolific transformation that can take its place. You want this transformation. So, taking a deep breath in, and on the exhale, you sense, feel, and imagine you are letting go of old triggers. A little bit more as more release. There you go. Now, take another breath in as you inhale the purposeful energy of your truth to live your purpose. That feels good. Lifting your eyes from the water and turning towards the tree, you see the tree begin to shake as every single leaf burst into the most beautiful golden butterflies, transforming, glistening, and sparkling as they fly towards the sky. You relish in this magical moment of rebirth. You relish in this magical moment and look back towards the river. Across the bank, there is now a white bridge before you, making a path to the other side of the bank that wasn't previously there. As you walk away from the water, you feel compelled to hug the transformational tree in gratitude for the divine healing that has transpired. The tree reminds you that you can revisit it at any moment. Revisit it any time you need the courage to face your triggers and to transform them. It will always have a white bridge for you to cross over the Emerald River back into new beginnings and awakenings of life purpose. Now, bring your awareness back to your breath. I will count up from 1 to 3, and you will come back to your original space with clarity and inner peace. 1, bring your awareness back to your body. 2, activating the cells in your body with your new integrated soul's truth of self-acceptance and purpose. 3, eyes wide open, as you are now fully accepting and receiving the answers you seek and the transformation you desire. All right. Okay. You love audiobooks, sharing good Christian music, and meaningful posts. So you want to know how to make a business of that, right? Is that what you're telling me here, Kathy? Kathy, thank you. Hi, Greg. Welcome. So these are the things you love to do, Kathy, right? Could you create your own audiobook, right? Could you put these things together to help people transform, like in a package of some sort where people listen to certain, music is very transformational. Put together the Christian music that you love, right? And post that connect the brain, right, to the music maybe. Create a visualization for people in a sense, and then speak with it. I could see you doing that. Yeah. This visualization, everyone, really, I literally wrote it to help you let go of triggers. And us just having the conversation about triggers will help you be more aware in your life when you get set off, when you get annoyed, when you get frustrated, when you feel diminished, right? Diminished is a trigger, where you feel like you can't use your voice, or why all dreams are lost, right? We begin to shut down. So be thinking about how does this show up? And I promise, now that we've had this conversation, something's going to happen, right? And you're going to go, oh, this is a trigger. Oh, what am I feeling? And I want you to identify what you're feeling, okay? Go back through, listen to this again, identify the 3 things that I talked about, right? You want to become aware of the trigger, right? You want to know how it makes you feel, and even be thinking about, when else have you felt this before? See if you can go back to childhood, figure out, you don't have to, by the way, but what are some things that come to this up for you about it, about the story? And then you're going to reprogram the brain by redefining the story, repeating something positive about yourself. Okay? Now, lastly, Jean. Okay? One thing I know about loss and trials, and when life throws us a curveball, okay, is that there's always an opportunity in that to help somebody else. I want you to think about that. Okay? You've been through a lot, and the experiences that you've had can help someone else. So all I want you to do is think about that. All right? All right, everyone. I will come back in and I will respond to your messages. Okay? And if you're watching the replay, let me know and answer the questions, and I'll respond to you too. I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.